Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2021 Ford Bronco First Edition and comparing it to a 2021 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to the Larry H. Miller Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this First Edition. If you're actually interested in purchasing this First Edition, then reach out to them, link in the description down below. Let's get into the comparison. Now let's go into the hoods of both of the vehicles. So starting over here with the Bronco First Edition, we have a turbocharged 2.7 liter V6, goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 330 horsepower and then 415 pound-feet of torque. Now popping over to the 4xe, we have a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that's paired to a hybrid system and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Total system output 375 horsepower and then 470 pound-feet of torque. And whoever had this Wrangler before me obviously had quite a bit of fun because it's pretty dirty under the hood. Now let's go over the front ends of both of the vehicles. Starting over here with the Bronco First Edition, we have the special decals that come with the First Edition. And notice where the mirrors are actually mounted. And that actually helps out with the whole convertible aspect because you can take off the doors and you'll still have mirrors. Whereas, well, you can see where the mirrors are on the Wrangler. Anyways, notice we've got the LED lights here at the front with the white Bronco logo. And then there is a camera right there in the center. And then we have the bumper that comes here with the First Edition. It does have parking sensors. Looks really cool because it looks like something you'd get from an aftermarket company like Addictive Desert Designs. And then notice here we've got the gap right there that shows you the Bilstein position sensitive shocks. But yeah, that's the front end of the First Edition, and also we have independent front suspension. Sorry about my shadow. But anyways, popping over here to the Wrangler rather, we've got all of the 4xe graphics right there on the side and then the blue Rubicon logo. We've got the LED lights here on the fenders, and then also for the headlights we got Jeep's signature front grille, and we do have the steel bumper group. LED fog lights. The Bronco doesn't even have fog lights, so pretty interesting. And then notice the bumper's cut out just like what you have with the Bronco, so you can kind of see the suspension right there. You have the Fox shocks on the Wrangler, so obviously the two different shock manufacturers on each of them. But anyways, that's everything for the front. Now let's go over things on the side, and sorry, it's like the worst time to film. But anyways, we've got 17-inch wheels over here on the Bronco, 35s, 17-inch wheels on the Wrangler, and we have 33s. You can get 35s on the Rubicon for the 2022 model year, but you can't get that with the hybrids. So just take that into account. And then you guys can see here with the front end, and again, we've got the solid front axle, and then there's the tires and everything, and a closer look at the wheels. And here on the Bronco, we have the beadlock capable wheels, and then again, independent front suspension, and those 35s are just so beefy. Oversized fender flares, not as big as what you have on the Wrangler though. And then notice that both of them have protection down the side, which is awesome. Got our First Edition logo, and then again the difference with both of the mirrors. But aside from that, notice like how similar they look on the side. Obviously take away the fender flares on both of them, and I mean obviously they're both boxy off-road SUVs. You can take everything off. Notice with the 4xe, we've got that to actually charge it. And then look at the difference here with the door handles. So you just have the black ones right there, and then you have the body painted ones on the Bronco. And then also, we've got hard top versus soft top. Again, the whole shape and everything is super similar. Now here are the key fobs for both of them. We've got the Wrangler key fob here, and then we got the Bronco key fob there. Notice that the functionality on them is identical. They just look different, Bronco versus Jeep. And yeah, that's the key fobs, and we'll make sure both of them are unlocked. Also, look at the LED lights on both of them. Definitely looks nice. Now let's go over everything here in the rear. So first off, we're actually going to pop over to the Wrangler because I want to show something that I've been mentioning in a bunch of videos. Look how easy that is to open. Like super easy, and it's got the soft top, so you don't have like the flip up window that you get with the hard tops. Now coming over to the Bronco First Edition, something that I've been complaining about with the Broncos is it's just like you have to kind of hold it for a second and then wait and then push it, and then it'll fully open, and then you can do the window here in the back. But anyways, let's pop here into the rear. So we have all this to actually store the tops for the Bronco, which is definitely nice, and then got that for the front license plate. Anyways, more storage underneath. Notice you've got that body painted to match. Got the Bronco horse and then the 12 volt. But you guys will notice the storage space in both of them is pretty much identical, which is pretty awesome, but I mean, it makes sense. And then again, for the whole top situation, Alpine sound system speaker, but you guys can see storage space pretty much the same. Still have a 12 volt back there, but we're gonna close that bad boy up. And then popping over to the Bronco, we obviously have to do the window first, and then we do the little tailgate second. Now you guys will notice we have these spare tires on both of them. Popping over here to the Jeep first, notice that we've got the camera there in the center, and again a 33 on the back. Got the blue logos as part of the 4xe package. Parking sensors integrated into the bumper, and again, got the nice bumpers on this one. Receiver hitch down below. You guys will notice a lot of similarities because if we pop over to the Bronco, notice we've got the recovery hooks, parking sensors in the bumper. We've got the 35 on the back, camera in the center, and yeah, just like so similar. It's crazy. It's almost like a Ford copied a little bit, but anyways, that's both the vehicles. Got the Jeep open. Got the Bronco First Edition open. Bam. Now let's pop to the interiors and kind of go over that stuff pretty quickly. So notice we've got the leather here with the blue stitching, again, part of that 4xe package. If you get a regular Rubicon, it's just red stitching. And then you can see the leather seats here in the back. And they make this like this texture-wise, so it's easier to clean off. Got all the rubber floor mats. Vents in the back, window controls. Got the full outlet as well. And then popping over to the First Edition, this one has the navy interior, but notice there's like not a bunch of like stitching like what you have on the Wrangler. But you do have stitching here on the seats themselves, and you can see the design of the seats, and then they're just as easy to clean off as what you have on the Wrangler. Rubber floor mats. No vents here in the back. Window controls though and charging area, but no vents in the back. Definitely a difference. And then they did the stadium seating in the Bronco, so the back seats are higher than the front seats, so you can kind of see what's happening. They kind of expect you to take your buddies off-road in that, which is pretty cool. But anyways, that's all. Now let's go over things here in the Wrangler. So again, we've got the leather here with the blue stitching. The mirror does have blind spot monitoring, and then here the front seat says Rubicon on it. They're manually adjustable, and just like Wranglers in the past, you can spray out the interior. And let's actually pop in. If you guys will notice the engine didn't start up, I'll pop into e-save so the engine does start. But again, it'll be in the full electric mode normally. And then you guys can see here the steering wheel. You've got, again, the black leather with the blue stitching right here. And then we've got adaptive cruise control, we've got voice commands, controls for the center stack, radio controls in the back. You got your stock there for the windshield wipers, turn signal stock on the other side. And that's all for the steering wheel. Here is what the gauge cluster looks like on the Wrangler 4xe. And again, because this is the 4xe, it's a little bit different because you have this for the hybrid system on the side, and then obviously it gives you your range for both. And then notice here on the dash, there's a bunch of stitching. It's kind of hard to see because of the sun. Man, the sun is killing us today. And then over here, there's more stitching. Now, we do have the 8.4-inch infotainment system here with the Wrangler. And also, let's go with the camera system. So we just have a backup camera. This one doesn't have a front camera or anything like that, just the backup camera. But response time of the screen's great. Dual zone climate. We've got heated seats, all that fun stuff. A bunch of controls down here for the media, for also the climate controls. Again, it's got that dual zone climate. You've got the heated seats in the front, and then notice the recirculation button is a Jeep. Got our off-road cruise control right here. That's again for the hybrid. If you guys are wondering, all the controls are over here. So we've got our e-save, electric, and then hybrid for the different modes for that. All of our window controls here, and then the charging area. We've got this for the lockers, the sway bar disconnect, and then notice that you've got that for the auxiliary switches. There's only 4 of them. Shifter for the 8-speed automatic, the driveline. Notice we have 4-wheel auto, and then 4-wheel high, part-time, and then 4-wheel low. You've got the cup holders here, again, more blue stitching, and then with the center console setup as well. And then you guys can see the glove box. And then notice we have the Jeep grab handle, which I'm a huge fan of. And then this one's a soft top, so yeah, you've got all the soft top stuff at the top. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, let's have the Bronco. Now popping here to the front of the Bronco, again, you've got the navy here on the side of the door. The mirrors do have blind spot monitoring. And then obviously the mirrors aren't on the doors, so like the door goes towards the mirror. It's pretty interesting. But here are the front seats. Again, with the gray and then the navy. And then go watch my video on just this Bronco if you guys want a little bit of a better look and a little bit better lighting. But anyways, you've got power adjustments there on the side of the seats. Notice that. That's a big difference. Whereas the Wrangler just has the manual seats. Now, starting her up. Boom. Got the big screen. Notice here at the steering wheel, it's black. It's not navy or gray like the rest of the interior. Still have the adaptive cruise control, all that fun stuff, voice command controls, just as practical as the Wrangler. And you have your turn signal, windshield wiper stock. And you guys are wondering, the light controls are actually down here off to the side. And then here is the center cluster here. I kind of like the look of the one in the Wrangler just a little bit more, but this with the full digital screen is definitely cool, especially with how they've done the speedo there off to the side. I think overall it looks really good. And then we actually have drive modes here in the Bronco. So obviously that Wrangler 4xe has the hybrid modes, but it doesn't have like drive modes like this. This actually has drive modes. The cool mode here in the first edition is the Baja mode, which is for your high-speed off-roading, which is pretty neat. And then aside from that, you guys won't be able to see because of the sunlight, but there's a bunch of controls up here. You've got the stabilizer bar disconnect, the lockers for the front and the rear, the trail turn assist, stability control, and then the hazard lights all at the top right there. You've seen that in my other Bronco reviews. And then here for the infotainment system, this is another big difference. We have the full 360 camera system, so we got the bird's eye view, there's a backup camera, and then there's also the camera views out of the front as well, which helps out. You can get a front camera on the Wrangler, but you don't get like this full 360 view like you get on the Bronco. And then if you have the Bronco in 4-wheel low, you'll actually get something pretty cool where you'll have trajectory lines on the camera, which I think is another nice little feature. Now, aside from that, the 12-inch display is just as responsive as what you have in the Jeep. It's bigger, has similar functionality though, so they're both pretty good from an infotainment system perspective. Now down below we've got our analog radio controls, climate controls, all in this area, heated seats, heated steering wheel, just like the Wrangler. Wireless phone charger, the Wrangler didn't have one, so that's definitely a plus here. Notice we got our first edition plaque. 10-speed automatic transmission selector, and then we've got the drive mode select here with the drive line select. Got all the window controls, and you got that for the mirror adjustment, and then you guys can see the centered console. And then over here with the glove box, no grab handles, off to the side actually. And then again, since this is the hard top, got like the padding here. Also, we have 6 auxiliary switches, so we have 2 more than what you have on the Wrangler. So adds a level of practicality. Now let's get into pricing on both of these vehicles. So this Wrangler stickers for about $61,000, and then this Bronco stickers for about $62,000. Now I do want to mention, obviously right now we're in a crazy market, so there's market adjustments on everything, but the Bronco market adjustment is substantially higher than the Wrangler. Right now these first editions are literally selling for anywhere from like $120,000 to $150,000. Pretty crazy stuff, pretty crazy world we're living in right now, but I just wanted to also mention that. Now, obviously, we do have to pick a winner for today's video, and here's what I have to say. Obviously, we didn't do driving, but I have driven both of these quite extensively. The 4xe is definitely quicker than the Bronco from an acceleration standpoint. It also gets better fuel economy. You have the solid front axle versus the independent front suspension, so it's really going to depend on what you're doing. That obviously is going to have the benefits of the solid front axle from a crawling perspective. But with the Bronco, I was really impressed with taking it off-road in Texas with the front stabilizer bar disconnect, and then also the front and rear lockers. The fact you can do them in the middle of a movement, I think is just absolutely crazy, and it's really capable off-road. It's just as capable as a Wrangler, I will say that. And so they're both really cool off-road SUVs. You have to pick the one that you like the looks of the most, and so for me, I think the Bronco looks a little bit better, at least this first edition versus the 4xe. But if we had a 392 next to it, it'd be a lot harder for me to decide between the two. But this to this, right, you have a little bit crazier stuff from the powertrain perspective. But the first edition Bronco, like, it's got so much road presence, it's so capable off-road, and it's iconic. They're both iconic, but like, I mean, look at that thing. It's awesome. Now let's get some things up for our comparison between this Bronco First Edition and this Jeep Wrangler Rubicon 4xe. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Ford Lincoln here in Provo for giving me some time with this Bronco. Again, if you want to purchase it, reach out to them. They'll have it available for the time being. It's probably gonna go pretty fast, but anyways, I will see all of you guys in the next video.